Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make this granny stitch striped skirt. It has a fringe at the base. In this outfit, it's paired with the starfish crochet halter top that already has a tutorial as well as a written pattern, and the pattern for the skirt is also available on all my online shops. So all the links are in the description box below. Alright, so you're going to get your 3.5mm crochet hook and your first color. My first color is white, and I'll be using only two colors as I had mentioned earlier on. So we're going to start off with a slip knot. You're going to twist over your yarn like this. Insert your hook into that loop that you've just created. Yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through. And then you're going to pull on the tail. So we've created a slip knot at this point. Now we're going to make a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you're going to go into the very first chain that you made, this one, and you're going to place 3 double crochets. So you yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's a double crochet in the US terms. And then yarn over, insert your hook into the same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's the second double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's the third double crochet. So far we have a total of 1, 2, 3 double crochets and a chain 4 at the beginning of the row, which counts as a double crochet chain 1. So from here you're going to make a chain of 2. Into the same chain with the 3 double crochets, you're going to place 3 more double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And after this, you're going to make a chain of 1 and double crochet into the same exact chain. And that marks the end of row 1. You'll have some sort of triangular shape. This is the topmost part of the panel, and this is the base. The base is supposed to be flat. So let's go on to row 2. For row 2, you're going to start with a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1. After your chain of 4, you're going to turn your work, and into the very first chain, 1 space, you're going to go into it with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. From here, you're going to make a chain of 1 and go into the chain 2 space with a corner which is supposed to receive a shell. So a shell is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. So for this pattern, a chain 2 creates a corner, and in each chain 2 space you place a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and in each chain 1 space you place only 3 double crochets. So from here you're going to make a chain of 1 and skip over the next 3 double crochets and into the chain 4 space on the edge. You're going to go in there with 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact space. So that marks the end of row 2. Row 3, you're going to make a chain of 4, just like row 2. So chain 4, turn your work. Into the very first chain 1 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. After your 3 double crochets, you're going to make a chain of 1 and then go into the next chain 1 space with a total of 3 double crochets. Chain 1. Another thing that you have to remember is after 3 double crochets, you make a chain of 1. And then when it comes to the corner, you place a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space. So we've just placed a shell into the chain 2 space. And then you're going to make a chain of 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, and into the last chain 4 space you place 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact space, and that marks the end of row 3. And look what we have. We have a triangular shape, we have a flat base, and then a topmost corner, which is the chain 2 space, and then slanting sides, which creates a triangular shape. So we are going to repeat this row again and again until we come to switching colors. So don't forget, we start off with a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1. Turn your work into the very first space. You're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and then into the chain 2 space you place a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 more double crochets into the same exact space. Okay, so this is what we have on this side, and then we've gotten onto the opposite side. So chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and into the last chain 4 space you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact space. So that marks the end of row 4. I'm going to go ahead and make row 5 because I want 5 rows of white, and then I'll come back to show you how to attach another color and the sequence that I'll be using for this pattern. So after your last double crochet of the 5th row, I'm going to make a chain of 1 and cut my yarn, pull through. So this marks the end of my white section for this part, and now I'm going to attach my next color. Alright, so for my next color I'll be using black. I'll try my best to explain as much as I can for you guys to get it. I know black is a tricky color to work with, but I'm hopeful that I'll be able to explain it very well to you guys so that you can get exactly what to do. So we're going to start off with a slip knot, just like we started the white color. And we're going to attach our black color onto the stitch, the very last stitch of white. So insert your hook, pull this loop of black, and then make a chain of 1 just to attach. And then you're going to make a chain of 4, just like we've been doing for the previous rows. So we're just going to make the same exact process for the next rows. The only thing that I wanted to point out is how to attach your new color. So make your chain of 4, and then into the very first chain 1 space you're going to place 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. From here you're going to make a chain of 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and you're going to repeat that all the way across until you get to the top of your triangle. Where you will place a shell. Alright, so here we are, chain 1, and into the chain 2 space, as we had mentioned earlier on, you place 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Just like that. And then go all the way down to finish your row, just as we were doing for the previous rows. So chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, so we've come to the end, and I'm going to make a chain of 1, and into the last chain 4 space I'm going to place 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same space. So that marks the end of row 6. So switch your colors the way you wish, and from here I'm going to make a chain of 1 and cut my yarn, because I'm using a sequence of 5, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 5 rows of this color, 1 row of the next color, 2 rows of the next color. So the fact that I'm using just 2 colors, that means I'm going to do 2 rows of white. That will be my next color. So pull through and attach your next color. For me, that is white. Make a slip knot and attach your yarn just like I taught you for the previous color. So you attach your yarn into this stitch. Alright, so we are done with our first row of white, and I'm going to go ahead and do my second one. Chain 4, turn, All right, so I'm through with my second row of white, and now that we know how to attach our new colors and the sequence that we are working with, 5 1 2 5 1 2, you're going to keep repeating that until the base of your triangle measures half of your hip circumference. So I'm going to attach my next color, which is black, and I'm going to do 5 rows of black, and then 1 row of white, and then 2 rows of black, and then just repeat the sequence until the base of my triangle is half of my hip circumference. Alright, so we ended up doing a total of 16 rows in order to get half of the hip circumference at the base when slightly stretched. So without the stretch we have 18.5, but when slightly stretched we can get to our 20 inches. Alright guys, you're going to make an identical piece to your first piece. As you can see here, we have 16 rows for this piece and 16 rows for this one as well. So you're going to make sure Alright, so you're going to get two short strands. Cut 2 short strands of the same exact color and join the 2 corners together into the chain 1 spaces on the edge. Just place the 2 pieces on top of each other and tie the corners with a double knot. So this is what we have. So we're going to do the same exact thing on the opposite side. Into the chain 4 space, and then you're going to tie a double knot on the edge, just like this. So what we've done right now is to join our piece into a round, and from now onwards we are going to make sure that we work in rounds in order to get the length of our piece. So get your next color. For me that's going to be white, because I'm doing 5 1 2 then 5 of white. That means I'm going to make white color and I'm going to do 5 rounds of white. So you're going to attach your yarn. You're going to make sure you're working in the opposite direction of the previous row. So after this corner here, you're going to count 1 2 3, and into the 3rd chain 1 space, that's where I'm going to attach my yarn, and I'm going to make a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet. Place 2 more double crochets into the same exact space to make a total of 3 double crochets. Then from here you're going to make a chain of 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and keep doing this until the corner where you will place a shell into the chain 2 space and come all the way down, and I'll meet you back here towards this 2nd corner of the joining of the 2 panels together. Alright, so I kept working from here all the way up, created a shell, and then all the way down until I had a total of 3 double crochets to the joining to the next panel. So from here you're going to directly You're going to skip over these 3 double crochets and the next 3 double crochets and directly go into the next chain 1 space. So skip this and this and don't chain 1 here. You're going to directly go into the next chain 1 space with a total of 3 double crochets. So what we are trying to avoid here is the seam line. We're going to work in round so that we don't have a seam line on the sides of our skirt. And then from here, you're just going to go back to the normal pattern all the way up where you create a shell and then come back all the way down. And I'll show you how to wind up at this section. You go back to chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. The only place where we don't chain 1 is in the valley, because now we have peaks and valleys, and this is the valley, so we don't chain 1 at this point. Alright guys, we are almost coming to the end of this panel. So you're going to make a chain of 1 and place 3 double crochets in the last chain 1 space before the joining. So from here, you're going to skip over the next group of double crochets and the next one and directly go into the next chain 1 space without chaining 1 in between, because this is a valley. So we've crossed over to this side and you're going to make a chain of 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and you're going to slip stitch on top of the first chain 3 of the round, just like that. So we're going on to our next round and you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet. Turn your work, 2 more double crochets into the same exact chain 1 space to make a total of 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and now we've reached where the 2 panels meet, or the valley. After your 3 double crochets, you're going to prepare for a double crochet. Skip over the next 2 groups of 3 double crochets. So yarn over, skip all the 6 double crochets, and into the next chain 1 space you're going to place 3 double crochets, just like that. And then from here you're going to just go on with your pattern of chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space all the way up to the tip of the panel where you will place a shell, and then move all the way down to the valley where you create the same exact effect as we've done on this side. You will do the same exact thing on this side, on the opposite side. So it happens here and here, and then for all the other things they remain the same. And you'll see that your piece is starting to get flat on the sides. This is where we create the valley effect on the sides of the skirt. And we are no longer widening our skirt because we've already achieved the hip circumference that we need for our piece. So now it's time to go lengthwise, not widthwise. So keep working all the way up, create a shell at the top, and then come all the way down. And I'll show you how to pass by this point, and then we shall carry on with our pattern. So this is supposed to be round 2. and it's the round that we are going to keep repeating again and again until we get the length of the skirt that we want, of course following our color combination of 5 1 2. Alright, so we've come to the end of the round, and I'm going to make a chain of 1, slip stitch on top of the first chain 3 of the round. So this marks the end of round 2, and we're going to repeat round 2 again and again until we get to the point of attaching a new color, and I'll show you how to attach a new color. For now I have 2 rounds of white and I have to have a total of 5, so I'll just make a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet, and turn my work, double crochet 2 more times into the same space to make a total of 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. So now that we know what to do when it comes to the valley and the peak, you're going to just keep working until you get the length of the skirt you want from here all the way to your waistline. Alright guys, we are done with our 5 rounds of white, and now I'm going to go ahead and do 1 round of black. So I'm going to show you where to attach your new yarn. So you're going to make sure you're working in the opposite direction of the previous round, and then here this line is the valley section, so you're going to count 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, and into the next chain 1 space. That's where I'm going to attach my yarn, and then start working my next round. So we are just repeating round 2 again and again until we have our desired length. Alright, so we ended up doing a total of 56 rows altogether from here. Just count from here, 1 2 3 4. We have a total of 56 rows, and this measures from the tip here all the way down. We have a total of 35 inches. You should make sure you don't get the total length from your waistline all the way to the feet. You should consider that measurement minus 5 inches to accommodate the fringe. So once you get that measurement, this is how mine looks like. We are now going to level up the top of the skirt. This skirt, remember, is worked from the base all the way up to the waistband. Now we still have this shape for the waistband, for the upper part, and we need to make it flat. So following the same pattern of 5 rows, 1 row and 2 rows, that means for my next color I'm going to have 5 rows of black, and now I'm going to attach my yarn, and we are going to first work one side of our skirt. We're going to first work this side, level it up, and then we shall come to the opposite side. So attach your yarn into the top, the chain 2 space at the top of the skirt, and then you're going to make a chain of 3. Alright, so after your chain of 3, you're going to skip over the 3 double crochets here, and then in the next chain 1 space you're going to place 3 double crochets. Our aim this time is to have a flat edge at the top of the skirt, and you'll see that once we work a few rows. So chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, And you're going to repeat that until you get to the valley, which is this one. All right, so when you make it all the way down to this part, you're going to directly go into the chain one space here, skipping these three and these three. So directly go into the next chain one space with 3 double crochets, and this will look like this. And then you're going to continue to chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and you're going to repeat that all the way up until you get to the chain 2 space of the next peak. All right, when you get to the chain 2 space, which is this one, the peak, the second peak of our skirt, remember this side we started with a chain 3 and then 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. Now when you finish the 3 double crochets here in the chain 1 space before the chain 2 space, you're going to directly go into the chain 2 space and place a double crochet. And as I had mentioned earlier on, we are going to work one side first. So we are working this side first, and then we shall go onto the opposite side. So for the next row, which is going to be our repeat row, I hope you can see what I'm doing because I'm using black. So for the next row, you're going to make a chain of 3, turn your work, skip over the 3 double crochets here, and then into the next chain 1 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets. So you can see how the top of our skirt is starting to level up. So from here, you're going to make a chain of 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and you're going to repeat that all the way down to the valley, and I'll show you how to work that part. All right, so when you come to the valley, which is this one, the one that creates a V, you're going to skip over the next 2 groups of 3 double crochets and directly go into the next chain 1 space, which is this one, and place 3 double crochets. And then from here, you're going to make a chain of 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and you're going to repeat that all the way up until towards the end of the row, where I'll show you how to wind up your row. All right, so we're coming towards the end of the row, and I'm placing my last 3 double crochets into the last chain 1 space of the previous row, and then you're going to directly go into the chain 3 space and place 1 double crochet. And this is the repeat row. We are going to repeat this following the pattern. Remember, now I have to have a total of 5 rows of black before I go on to my next color. So follow your sequence and chain 3. We're repeating the row 2 that we just did. So skip over the next 3 double crochets, and you're just going to repeat row 2 again and again until we are almost out of stitches. You should notice that your rows will get shorter and shorter. That's exactly what we want, because we are creating a triangular shape. Let me show you. So far, this is what we have created. From the time we started leveling up the sides, this is what we've created. That means it's going to keep coming up, and this one keeps on going like this. So we are trying to cover up like this. So that means our rows will get shorter and shorter, as you'll see later on. So keep working that row, and I'll meet you back when I'm running out of stitches. So we are done with our 5 rows, and you can see how leveled up the skirt is at the top. So from here, when you want to attach your new color, you start with a slip knot and attach where you left off with your previous color into that same exact stitch. On the edge, attach your yarn, chain 3, and then skip the next 3 double crochets, and then 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and just keep repeating. Row 2, this is the same exact process as row 2, and this is how we switch colors. All right, since I'm still working this same pattern of 5 1 2, this marks the end of my white row, and you can see it's much shorter than what we had before. So I'm going to attach my next color and work 2 rows, and then go back to white and work 5 rows. Alright guys, we are still working row 2, and you can see the space that we have left. It's a very small V, and I'm still going ahead to close it up so that we have a flat edge on this side. So from the big V that we had, we have this left. So we are coming to the end, and I'm now going on to my next color, and I have to make 2 rows of white. So I'll just attach my yarn as usual, chain 3, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and then this is the valley, so we skip over this group and this group and directly go into the chain 1 space after that, and you're going to place 3 double crochets, and then skip over the last 3 double crochets and double crochet in the last chain 3 space. From here you're going to make a chain of 3, turn your work, and you're going to slip stitch into the last chain 3 space, and you just slip stitch like that, and then you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn. Pull through. So what we've done here is to make the side flat, the top, the first side of the top part of the skirt flat, as you can see here. Now we're going to go ahead and repeat the same exact process for the second side. So this is our first side, and then this is our second side that still has a slanting effect. So just like we've done on this side, we're going to go ahead and work on the second side. So to demonstrate, I'm going to attach my yarn into the chain to space, and make sure you're working in the opposite direction of the previous row. So attach your yarn into the chain to space and rewind the video and follow the same exact instructions that we had on this side. And at the end of leveling up on the second side, you're going to have both sides flat at the top of the skirt. You're going to have this covered up as well. So we are done leveling up both sides, and we are currently going to work on the waistband of our skirt, and you're going to choose what color you want to use. For me, I'm going to use black, and it's the one that's going to make the thickness for the waistband. And I decided to use a double strand for my waistband. You're going to make a slip knot, and you're going to attach into the chain to space here. You're going to attach your yarn and then single crochet into the same space. Then from now on, for each and every row, you're going to place 2 single crochets. So I'm using a black color, but I hope I can explain it well. So 2 single crochets into each and every row all the way around. Apart from the chain to space on the opposite side, which is here, where you only place 1 single crochet. So the waistband is worked on the side where we were leveling up previously in our previous clip. That's where we work the waistband, and I'm using 2 strands of the black color. So choose your boundary color and use it to create the waistband. So this is the base of the waistband, and we shall work the thickness later on. We are just trying to clean up the top part of the skirt before we go onto the waistline ribbing. Okay, so you can see how the skirt is kind of gathering. It's no longer so spread out, and that's exactly what we want. So since we were taking the measurements considering the hip circumference, now it's time for us to narrow down a little bit so that it can fit perfectly well around the waist area, since it's usually smaller than the hip circumference. So if you see it gathering like this, don't try to straighten it out. Just leave it as it is. 2 single crochets all the way around. So we've reached the chain to space, and I've only placed 1 single crochet here. And then I'm going to go back to 2 single crochets in each and every double crochet row. Alright, so we are placing our last 2 single crochets into the very last row, and this is what we have. And you're going to slip stitch into the very first single crochet of the round. So I'm going to just explain this clearly because we are using a dark color and we may not see the stitches. So you should see that the stretch has been kind of limited at the top of the skirt, and that's exactly what we want. Now we are going to go ahead and create the ribbing of the waistband. So we're going to make a chain of 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, let me make a chain of 10. And this is going to be the thickness of the waistband. So you're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So not this one, the next one. I'm just trying to explain as much as I can so that you can see you can get the instructions right. So single crochet in each and every chain all the way down to the body of the skirt. You'll have a total of 9 single crochets because the 10th chain was a turning chain. So you'll have a total of 9 single crochets at the end of row 1 of the waistband ribbing. After that, you have something that looks like this, and you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch and slip stitch into the next stitch of the skirt. Remember the single crochet row, the single crochet stitches that we've been working around. That's where we are placing the slip stitches. So turn your work, skip the 2 slip stitches, and you're going to go into the back loop of the single crochets, the 9 single crochets from the previous row. So slip stitch, sorry, single crochet back loop only in each and every single crochet from the previous row. So you should be having a total of 9 single crochets, all worked in the back loops only. That's all. So this is row 2 of the ribbing. So I'm going to just continue with chain 1. This is row 3 now. Chain 1, single crochet back loop only in each and every stitch from the previous row. So you should be having a total of 9 single crochets in the back loops only. Just make sure you maintain that number 9 or whatever number of stitches that you had for your very first row of ribbing. So since I had 9 stitches, I'll have a total of 9 stitches for each and every row. So this is row 3. After your last stitch, you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch on the skirt and slip stitch into the next. Turn your work, skip the 2 slip stitches and single crochet back loop only in each and every stitch of the 9 stitches from the previous row. So we are going to repeat this all the way around, and this will create a ribbing for our waistband. Sorry for using a dark color, but I hope I've explained it well. So we're just going to repeat rows 2 and 3 again and again until we get all the way around the waistline opening of the skirt. So this is what we have right now. I don't know if you can see the ribbing, but it's there. It's somewhere there. I hope it will reflect later on. The ideal thing would have been to use white, but I want black to remain the color of the waistband. But I hope the explanation was perfect. So keep doing rows 2 and 3, back and forth, all the way around the waistline opening of the skirt. Alright, so we've made it all the way around, and I've ended on the top part of the waistband, as you can see here. Now you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, pull through, and we are going to close up that separation between this side and this side. So you're just going to get your darning needle and thread it with the tail that you just left behind, and you're going to join stitch to stitch. Just join all the 9 stitches to the foundation chain of the waistband. When you're through with that, you're going to push the tail onto the back side of the skirt, just like that. And this is what you're going to have at the top of your skirt. You're going to have something that looks like this. And if you feel like this is still a bit big for your waistband or waistline circumference, you're going to go ahead and attach an elastic strand on top of the waistband. So I'm going to go ahead and first get rid of all the loose ends on this skirt. I'm going to push them to the back and make sure I get rid of all these strands. And then we shall go onto the bottom part of the skirt and create the fringe. Alright, after getting rid of the loose ends on the upper part of the skirt, you're going to go to the base and also get rid of these loose ends. So what I'm going to do is to just tie a knot at every point with 2 strands. So I just make a triple knot and then cut off the excess. And you're going to repeat that all the way around the base of the skirt before we start attaching fringes. Okay, so we've cut strands of about 14 inches, but you can make as long as you want because you're going to fold them into half. So that means each fringe is going to make about 7 inches length to add to our skirt length. So what we are going to do is if we have a white color here, just get 3 strands and attach into the white, just like that. So 3 strands, and you're going to repeat that until you get to the black color. All right, so when you get to the black, you get 3 strands of black. That's why we cut both black and white. So when you get to the black color, you attach your black fringe the same exact way that we've been doing the white ones, just like that. And then when you get back to the white color, you attach white. And then this is black, so I'll attach a black fringe. So just keep placing 3 strands of the fringe correspond to the corresponding color until you make it all the way around the base of the skirt. So this is what the fringe is going to look like. You can make it longer or shorter depending on the look that you want to get. Alright, so this is how the fringe will look like. Every white row has gotten a white fringe, and every black row has gotten a black fringe. You can make it as thick as you want, but this is what we are going for. And for the waistband, I mentioned earlier on that you can attach an elastic strand in the waist area, but I'm going to leave mine like this because when I take my measurement across, it's measuring half of the waistline circumference that I'm considering. So mine is 28 inches and I have 14 inches across, so this is perfectly fine. But if you want it more snatched, you can even put a drawstring if you wish, or an elastic strand at the top of the waist area. And let's see how the final look of our skirt looks like. Alright, so this is how our final look of the skirt is like. We didn't put an elastic strand in the waist. So this is the front side, and let's see the back side of the skirt. And this marks the end of this tutorial. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Bye.